My name is Paige Beadham from the University of Cincinnati in Claremont. Today's presentation is about the role of future services and AAfPE's role in that future. In 2016, the American Bar Association came out with a report talking about what is the future of legal services. Shockingly, the American Bar Association came out very strongly and told us we're not doing a good enough job. This report is as scathing as a report I've ever read from the American Bar Association, and it's in many parts quite snarky about how the legal community has really failed at providing legal services for those who need it the most. So as we look at what is the future of legal services, let's take a look at what we see as legal services now. Who do we think of when we think of an attorney? Many of us know the difference, but an average person thinks of a high-dollar white male as the person who provides legal services for most people. So then we look at why. Why did the American Bar Association take it upon themselves to look at the future of legal services? Sadly, for statistics like the following. In Massachusetts, legal aid turned away 64% of eligible low-income people who are actually eligible for services for life-essential matters. They could not facilitate that number of people. When we talk about life-essential matters, what are those kinds of things? We're talking about evictions, foreclosures, child abuse, and domestic violence. Those are the people turned away. In Michigan, the number of people qualified for legal aid has increased by 53%. The funds have not matched that. In New York, 1.8 million litigants in civil cases do not have representation for, again, those life-essential cases like healthcare, education, and children's issues. In Utah, 98% of defendants in debt collection were unrepresented. A full 96% of plaintiffs had a lawyer in that same circumstance. The odds are so completely against the individual, especially an individual who does not have great means. In evictions, 97% of the people involved in an eviction did not have an attorney. And finally, 12% of divorces had representation on both sides. Only 12%. Based on those statistics, the findings of the American Bar Association are not shocking. First, most people living in poverty and the majority of middle-income people are not receiving the legal help that they need. They found that the public often doesn't obtain effective assistance with legal problems because of insufficient financial resources, but also because they lack the knowledge about when a legal problem even exists. They found that the vast number of unrepresented parties in the court system adversely affects not just those unrepresented, but all litigants. They found a huge disconnect with the fact that many lawyers, especially recent grads, are or underemployed despite this incredible need for legal services. Here's where I think they start to get really strong in their findings. They find the traditional law practice model constrains innovation that could provide greater access and enhance the delivery of legal services. They found, again, just very surprising from my perspective from the ABA, the legal profession's resistance to change hinders any additional innovation. Limited data has impeded efforts to identify and assess the most effective innovations in legal services delivery. So these last three really address what the future might look like. The American Bar Association, in those three findings, are essentially challenging us to say, wake up. There is a problem. What are we about to do with this problem? This is where this entire presentation is based. What are we going to do? As AAfPE, are we going to empower our students to do something about this? Are our students as paralegals the future of legal services? Can we provide an answer to some of these problems that the American Bar Association has presented? Can we use new and innovative changes to be able to help bridge that access to justice? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about ways that our future, our students, are finding to help bridge that gap. In the report, the ABA makes certain recommendations, and we'll take a look at some of these recommendations, not all, because some of these recommendations I feel very strongly speak to all of us as educators of paralegals, but also directly to the paralegal profession. So recommendation number 2 states that courts should consider regulatory innovations in the areas of legal services delivery. So they are talking about changing the limitations that are currently in effect, such as not licensing non-lawyers. They are asking courts to go forward and make those changes in order to bridge this gap. When we talk about non-lawyers, this is one of my pet peeves. We talk about non-lawyers, and there are law schools and many people who say non-lawyer representatives are people who went to law school, studied the law, and never decided to get their law license. I challenge you and say non-lawyers are paralegals. Paralegals are people who have studied the law, have the skills, and can move forward in delivering some legal services. That is something that has to be looked at, and here in this ABA report, they are challenging courts to do so. Recommendation number 3 recommends that all legal professionals stay up to date on legal technology. Paralegals have been a leader in this area for a long time. We emphasize in our program, and I know in most programs across the country, how to use legal technology efficiently in order to be more productive in an office and to provide better legal services. This is an opportunity, this recommendation is an opportunity for paralegals to step up and be leaders in this recommendation. We are already doing this, and we are doing this well. It's time for us to be leaders based on this recommendation. Recommendation number 4 says that individuals should have regular legal checkups. Just like we have regular medical checkups once a year, the ABA is recommending that people gain the knowledge to be able to really understand what to expect in the legal world based on what is going on around them. So one of the findings was that people very often not only get ineffective assistance of counsel because of lack of funds, but because of their lack of knowledge. These legal checkups would help people gain that knowledge about what issues are issues that need to be addressed or what issues they might be facing in the near future. The recommendation itself says bar associations or others could be administering these legal checkups. There are some legal checkups already in the works for people like veterans, people with disabilities. Those are legal checkups where people can go through, and there are some just apps, computer apps, where a person would go through, answer a series of questions, and it would give recommendations as to, hey, you might want to think about doing something or talking to an attorney. Paralegals have a great opportunity with this. This is not an opportunity for giving legal advice. This is an opportunity for alerting a person and giving them knowledge about the law. This is an opportunity for paralegals to take a different role in the legal system. Recommendation number 6 is in here just for the sake of saying, good job, ABA. Recommendation number 6 says that the ABA should establish a Center for Innovation. This report came out last August. Last August, the Center for Innovation was established, and not only established, it was funded. It is in Chicago, and part of the funding provides for fellows. There was an opportunity for application to become a fellow to basically establish a think tank. These fellows are spending an entire year at the Center for Innovation and coming up with ideas to help bridge the gap to access to justice. This is what our future of legal services may look like. And the Center for Innovation, good job to the ABA, is part of that process, and they are doing it. So, okay, all this sounds great, but are they actually going to listen if AAfPE comes a calling and saying that we have ideas that we think should be implemented in the future of legal services? Recommendation number 7 says yes. Recommendation number 7 says that the legal profession should partner with other disciplines. Now, I understand that they're talking about other non-legal disciplines, but this is an open door for all professions, all disciplines, to come and merge together to be able to make a difference. Paralegals are part of that process. While we are part of the legal profession, this report is geared towards attorneys. There's no question about that. But what the difference is that the ABA is welcoming non-attorneys to come and help make a difference, to bridge that gap in the access to justice through technology, through new ideas, through innovations. This recommendation number 7 essentially tells us, yes, we are welcome and that the ABA will listen to us. If you don't believe me, take a look at this quote. Now is a time for great opportunity and excitement in the legal industry. If you have an idea for how to make the legal industry more effective or how to serve clients better, the time is ripe for becoming a leader and defining these new service offerings and business models for law. We need entrepreneurial lawyers to create solutions for getting people legal help, new roles for JDs, and new types of interdisciplinary, user-centered legal organizations. This is our invitation as paralegal educators, as paralegal leaders, as AAfPE, to step up and make this difference.
My name is Chrissy Campbell, and I am the future of legal services.
My name is Megan Belinsky, and I am the future of legal services.
My name is Nathan Spalla, and I'm the future of legal services.
My name is Bailey Kleiman, and I am the future of legal services.
So those were some of my students who were introducing themselves as the future of legal services. I truly believe this. They are our future. So how do we get them involved and really get them interested in what the future of legal services holds? If you recall, the report says that we need to stay abreast of legal technology. In our law office technology class, one of the assignments is our students have to research an emerging technology. They then take that presentation and they present to the Cincinnati Paralegal Association. This gives the Cincinnati Paralegal Association the opportunity to find out about new technology and our students to become part of that process. Our practicum class has changed. We required 200 hours of essentially an internship. We took this to our advisory board and said we need to figure out how to bridge this access to justice gap. And they approved that we could include 10 hours of pro bono work in our practicum. So now our students do 190 hours in the law office and 10 pro bono hours in some sort of legal related event. The last thing that I have implemented is what really the rest of this presentation for me is going to be about. And this is about how I have challenged my Intro to Law or Intro to Legal Studies students to figure out what does the future of legal services look like. I challenge them to read the report, look at the recommendations, and adopt one of the recommendations. They then create a project based on that recommendation, and that project can simply be a plan that they may or may not implement as to how they would solve that problem. The results have been incredible. I'm so excited to share some of them with you today.
My project is based on the ABA recommendation of, it's recommendation number 9, and it's the criminal justice system should be reformed. Specifically, my project is going to be more based on the rehabilitation programs based in prison systems and for newly released prisoners who are now out into the world, and programs that help them not to end up back where they were before. I'm hoping to create a successful CLE seminar for my project, and hopefully it gets approved and everything. But yes, my biggest goal is to form effective rehab programs for our criminal justice system, for like prisons and newly released prisoners. Thank you.
My project is based on ABA recommendation number 1. The legal profession should support the goal of providing some form of effective assistance for essential civil legal needs to all persons otherwise unable to afford a lawyer. My project is called Legal Care. It is a legislative bill that provides legal services for those who otherwise can't afford it.
My project is based on ABA Recommendation 7, which has to do with partnering with other disciplines and the public for insights about the delivery of legal services. So what the project is about essentially is we feel that one of the overarching problems with the legal field is that people don't know about how it works, and it kind of leads them to be inherently distrustful of the people involved. So what the project is seeking to do is to create a seminar that will allow the general public to interact with judicial people within the legal system and get to know why they do what they do, how they do what they do a little bit better. And hopefully it works to build up that trust so that people are more adamant about seeking legal services, because a large majority will use them at some point in their life, and it's better to feel that you're working with someone that is working for your interests versus thinking that everything that they do is for some sort of ulterior motive.
Shayla is a member of our paralegal program, but she is also a member of the University of Cincinnati Police Department. She chose recommendation 5.3, which states that multilingual written materials should be adopted by courts and the availability of qualified translators and interpreters should be expanded. Shayla and her partner took this one step further and looked at technology to see how this recommendation could be met. They've researched and they found a set of earbuds that do real-time translation that can be purchased for $279. They've been approved by our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee to move forward with this, to seek funding from our dean and from the university. With these earbuds, the University of Cincinnati Police Department will be able to communicate as part of our legal profession with people who do not speak English as their first language. They will have a translator available to them in real time. Take a look. This next project is also based on recommendation 5.3. I wanted to share it with you because of its pure simplicity. My student wanted to make sure that the court's website is available to people who do not speak English. By using Google Chrome's extension to translate, she's going through and looking at the phone directories and translating the phone directories. This takes less than a minute to do, but is not being done, and if you're not tech savvy, you may not know how to do this. She's making arrangements to speak with the county clerks and going through and providing this service for them. On this screen, you can see the example of the difference. If you looked at the screen in Arabic, would you know who to contact at any one of those numbers? Probably not. And so when we look at the screen to the bottom right, in English, we look at this and we say, oh, if I have a traffic ticket, this is who I call. If I speak Arabic, I now can look to see who I call when I have a traffic ticket.
My project is based on the ABA Recommendation 10 for the public's unmet needs for legal services. My project is to write a grant to help bring ASL translators to the deaf community, to those who can't afford a translator inside a courtroom. A live translator is preferred, but I'm also researching apps that can do a live translation if the translator cannot be there in person. This project means a lot to me since I am pursuing a minor in ASL to become a translator as well.
So, based on that, I'm kind of excited about what the future of our legal services may entail. But the reality is we as an organization need to decide what is our role going to be in the future of legal services. Should AAfPE step up and take a leadership role in representing paralegals? Should AAfPE take a leadership role in training our paralegals? Or do we take a different role? Do we take a different path? That's what this roundtable discussion is about. What is AAfPE's role? I've provided certain recommendations that we've talked about today just for you to ruminate on, to discuss among yourselves. But just like my students, don't be limited to what the report includes. Think outside of the box. Make changes. Where do you see changes that need to be made? Much of this is related to the access to justice issue, and that is a huge issue. I want to see more people have access to justice. But I also will tell you, the business side of me thinks that this is an exciting time for our programs and for our organization. This can be a whole new business model where paralegals have an entirely new career or new opportunities open to them. It is exciting for the entire paralegal profession, including us as educators. It makes good business sense. It also makes good moral sense to change the way our legal system currently operates. So I welcome you all to discuss what is the future of legal services. Thank you all so much. I know it's not that much fun listening to me especially on a little screen, a little square on your screen. I wish I could be there with you. Please feel free to contact me. Talk to me more about what other students are doing. These are just a few that actually sent me videos. So I'm happy to share some of the projects. And one of the things that our students have said is that they would love to do a cross-national project. One of our students is looking at setting up a GoFundMe account where people could donate money and it would be supervised so that all money would go to the local legal aid society. What a phenomenal project if we all adopted that project and our students facilitated the advertising, the solicitation of funds for that GoFundMe account. Just an idea to get you started on the roundtable. Thank you all so much.